wrestler in Maryland. Yusuff told us he didn't really understand the rules or the scoring in folk-style wrestling, but his athleticism saw him through. As we just heard Yusuff talk about his family not thrilled that he's fighting a fellow Nigerian in Chuka Willis. Joe, in our fighter meeting, we could tell that that was playing on Yusuff's mind. He referenced that a lot.
Yeah, and I think, you know, he's just so proud of where he came from. And like he said, the Nigerians all want to try to help each other up. And we end up in a situation here where somebody has to lose this fight, you know. And I think that's more what his mom was saying, was just that a Nigerian has to lose tonight no matter what. And that's a situation I don't think either one of them like. But at the same time, when you're up-and-coming fighters like these two, you're not picking your opponents. Sodiq Yusuff's not going to turn this fight down just because Chuka Willis is also from Nigeria. He's got goals in mind, and if he has to beat another Nigerian to get there, he's going to get in there and do it. Same with Chuka Willis.
Your keys to victory for Sodiq Yusuff are presented by Bad Boy.
I think Yusuff needs to force a technical fight. Keep it technical on the feet. Don't let Chuka Willis sucker him into a brawl, because Chuka's a very wild fighter, at times very aggressive. He also needs to complement his jab with his power hand. He tends to be a heavy jabber and stay on his left side. He needs to come behind that with power shots with his right hand or his back leg with power, and complement his setups that he uses his lead hand with.
Chuka Willis, born in the United States to a Nigerian mom and an American dad, moved to Nigeria at age 5, returned to the United States at age 15, where he's been ever since. Willis said, "It means absolutely nothing to me that I'm fighting another Nigerian." Willis said, "What I like, though, is that I'm fighting someone who is perceived as a hot prospect. That's what motivates me."
Yeah, definitely. You know, Chuka's been around my scene for a long time, and what he's always done is tried to fight the toughest guys possible, amateurs, pros. He is not one of those kids that's out looking for an easy win to pad his record. He's looking for the toughest fights he could possibly get to improve himself, and more often than not, he's come out on top. And you know, here we are now, a very young kid with a lot of fights under his belt, a lot of experience. He's healthy, and he has himself set up against the top prospect tonight, Sodiq Yusuff.
Willis said, "I'm faster, I'm more accurate in striking than Sodiq Yusuff." Joe, your keys to victory for Chuka Willis are presented by Bad Boy.
Chuka needs to keep this clean on the feet. He needs to throw straight punches, not get over aggressive and wing haymakers, because Sodiq Yusuff's a very technical boxer out there. And he also needs to avoid being on bottom. Chuka's very tough, stand up, very, very tough on top on the ground. Doesn't want to get caught underneath Sodiq Yusuff tonight.
Here we go at the catchweight of 148 pounds. Sodiq Yusuff versus Chuka Willis. Our tale of the tape is presented by Bad Boy.
Sodiq Yusuff comes in 145.4. Chuka Willis misses weight. He's going to have to give up some money, 148.4.
To get us started, here's Mike Markham.
The following bout is presented by CageTix.com. This bout is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds and a victory. FC catchweight of 148 pounds. Introducing first, the man fighting out of the Harris Hotel and Casino blue corner. A mixed martial artist with a flawless professional record of 3-0. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed in at 145.4 pounds. Fighting out of Camp Springs, Maryland, by way of Lagos, Nigeria, Super Sodiq Yusuff. His opponent awaits across the cage and fights out of the CageTix.com red corner. A mixed martial artist with a record of 9 victories, opposite 3 defeats. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighed in officially at 148.4 pounds. Fighting out of Lenexa, Kansas, by way of Delta State, Nigeria, Chuka the Lion King Willis. Your referee, Dave Jobin.
This has all of the ingredients to be a really entertaining fight. Round number one. Tonight's fight clock is presented by Alienware, the ultimate gaming experience. Red and black trunks for Sodiq Yusuff, black and multicolored trunks for Chuka Willis. Yusuff, and he was being respectful, Joe. He wasn't being dismissive, but he said, Willis, he's talented, but he's basically a point fighter in MMA. He said, I'm going to step into the puncher's pocket where I've been working and training to be more comfortable and land big shots on the inside. Step-in elbow from Willis just missed the mark.
Yeah, Yusuff told us he wants to be more in the pocket, but that could play into the strengths of Chuka Willis. Chuka likes to brawl in there from time to time. You know, I don't see him as a point fighter because I've seen him finish a lot of fights. I see him more as just a guy who goes out there and puts enough pressure on guys, survives in bad positions at times, and is able to come out on top in a lot of fights. I've seen him in fights even against my own fighters, and I didn't think he had a chance to win, and he comes out on top. Just a tough, scrappy kid. Sodiq Yusuff is a well-trained fighter and in great shape.
Big knees from Yusuff. Yusuff's assessment of Willis, calling him a quote point fighter, that surprised me as well. Firmly on the inside of Sodiq Yusuff. Another big knee. Short left hand on the uppercut from Willis.
Yusuff's doing a great job of head positioning, keeping the top of his head against the jaw of Chuka Willis. And you notice that allows him to have his hips square to throw knees while it keeps Chuka Willis's hips faced away from him where he can't land knees back. It's a good position for Sodiq Yusuff, but Chuka Willis able to fight out.
Counter knee from Willis. The head positioning of Yusuff, completely legal. It's not a butt. You can grind. You can use your head as a pivot, as a lever. There's the separation from Dave Jobin. It's only a butt under the unified rules if you raise your head back and then strike your opponent. It's smart, that inside head positioning. Now back to the center of the cage.
Big portion of that wall fighting is head fighting and hand fighting. If you're winning the positional battle with your head in your hands, you're usually have a better chance to either defend or get the takedowns that you're looking for.
Good left hand on the step in from Yusuff, back to the inside. Halfway through round number one. Well, next month, UFC heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic will seek revenge as he faces the last man to defeat him, Junior Dos Santos. It's UFC 211 live Saturday, May 13th from Dallas, only on pay-per-view. More knees on the inside. And the body lock in the S-grip from Willis, loses it. Knee to the thigh, counter knee right back. Willis thinking about a level change. Joe, those knees on the inside from Yusuff starting to get through. And the body lock on the turn on the S-grip. The turn right back from Yusuff.
Yeah, Chuka's losing this battle right now because he's got his back against the wall, but you can also see he's not using a bunch of energy. He looks really relaxed, almost like he's at times not using any strength at all, and kind of resting and letting Yusuff use his muscle to try to hold him against the cage. So it's a strategy that could pay off later in the fight, but for the time being, he's losing his positional battle.
Nearly hitting the trip Willis, Yusuff showing very good balance. And the turn right back to the driving pressure from Sodiq Yusuff. And you see Yusuff driving legally with his head. Counter knee from Willis, knee right back from Yusuff. 110 remaining round number one. Tactical inside fighting. Yusuff starting to throw that right hand to the body, and he keeps throwing knees. There's the right hand again. Knee from Willis didn't firmly land.
50 seconds, 50 seconds.
Dave Jobin, as you see, taking a close look.
Give it big points if you can.
Seeing enough action to keep this fight flowing, not ordering the restart.
30 seconds.
Yeah, they're staying busy. You know, that this is technical. And another thing about this, you know, watching at home, this is always the most exciting part of a fight to watch. But it is one of the most taxing parts of the fight. It's very tiring to battle upper body like this and clinch fighting and up against the wall and really wear each other down. Or in this case, maybe Sodiq Yusuff is wearing down Chuka Willis, keeping his back against the wall the whole time and softening him up with knees to the body.
Final seconds, round number one. This fight at the catch weight of 148 pounds. 3-0 Sodiq Yusuff versus 9-3 Chuka Willis. Long conversation there as Dave Jobin walks Sodiq Yusuff back to his corner. Purely speculating. Hit knees on the inside.
Or he could have been telling them to do more work against the cage if he wants to stay there. You know, he let them work on the cage for a long time in that round after starting him back separated once in the beginning. So it's probably either a warning of keeping the knees up or just making sure he's staying busy enough up against the wall to warrant him staying in that position.
No, you're right, actually. Once you said it, I realized that you're right. He wasn't watching knees to the cup. He was saying more action on the inside.
It's a speculation, Sean. You could be right.
But I'm not. Thank you, Joe. We haven't seen your scorecard in a while. What do you think, round one?
I'm going to give it 10-9 Sodiq Yusuff. You know, he controlled that clinch the whole time. I mean, that's mostly all we saw that first round, but he was in control of it. Chuka had his back against the cage for most of the first round, so I'm giving it 10-9 Sodiq Yusuff.
The last three fights ending in round number one into round number two. Now you see the fingers extended for Sodiq Yusuff. This is under the new unified rules. No warning from Dave Jobin. But Jobin can tell him to watch his fingers. You can't essentially pitchfork out your fingers legally any longer.
And, you know, there's a lot of habits that are going to be hard for fighters to break. You know, stuff that you've been doing since the beginning that might not be legal now, and that's one of them. But leading with your fingers out isn't allowed anymore. We saw an eye poke once already tonight, so hopefully we don't deal with any more.
Keep your tweets coming. Tonight's live tweets during VFC 56 are powered by Herdat. And remember, wherever you're watching us on UFC Fight Pass in the U.S., Canada, we've heard from you in Australia and around the world. Use the hashtag on Twitter, VFC 56. The foot stomp there from Sodiq Yusuff. Overhook held by Willis, trying to turn, knee to the body again from Yusuff. And again, grinding with his head, Joe.
Yeah, he's, you know, using great head positioning, is definitely winning this fight. You know, but let me be critical for a second. As a fighter, as a coach, both of these fighters deserve to go to the next level at some point. Fights like this aren't going to get them there. Sodiq's doing great, he's winning, but he called Chuka Willis a point fighter. And now he's out here and he's winning rounds with head positioning, you know. So I think he needs to force the action, or Joban needs to get in and separate them so we don't have 3 rounds of this. Doing a good job of staying active, just hard to do damage from that tight end.
That's a big knee there from Yusuff. So it's turning into a fight of attrition. Both fighters are throwing and landing knees, but you see it's just a higher volume from Yusuff. Also, it's Yusuff pushing forward, and it's Willis largely with his back against the fence. Foot stomp again from Sodiq Yusuff.
I feel like having your back against the fence is similar to having your back on the ground. The guy that's on top or on the outside, in this case, and both are striking, it's usually going to be the fight. Oh, we got Usman in here. Cameroon Usman tweeting us. Fight of the night right here. Nigerians representing, no doubt. Big win for him in the UFC the other night. And tweeting now on the VFC broadcast.
Media celebrities and now MMA celebrities. Weighing in on Twitter. Really glad that you were with us for VFC 56.
Two minutes left.
No separation, no verbal warning from Dave Jobin. But from Jobin's position, we're seeing activity. It's not thrilling this Omaha crowd, but there is activity.
Yeah, you know, it's not his job as the referee to make sure the fight's exciting. It's to make sure they're working. You know, this is work. Sodiq Yusuff has been working the entire time. He's landed probably 50 knees to the body of Chuka Willis. He's being relentless. He's in there and they're fighting for position. But it's just not a way that you're going to break a guy and finish a fight against a guy like Chuka, especially.
That was legal. Above the cup.
90 seconds.
You know, on the other side of this, Sean, because I can't just pick on Sodiq Yusuff is Chuka needs to fight to turn him. He needs to fight to get his back off the wall. You know, I don't know if he's conserving energy, but he needs to try to fight harder to get out of this position, because we're 1 minute from him being down 2 rounds to none with nothing but clinch work up against the cage. You know, at a certain point, it's also his job to open up and try to make something happen.
Yusuff again with the foot stomp. Knee from Willis, bigger knee from Yusuff on the answer. And now the separation from Dave Jobin. You see Yusuff running literally back to the center of the cage. His square victory cage. Those of you who were with us all last season for Victory and UFC Fight Pass know that the angles are completely different in a square, as opposed to an octagon, a hexagon, a decagon, a circle.
Yeah, without a doubt, Sean, you know, all those things you just mentioned are circular, you know, like, so you can circle, avoid confrontation. But when you put corners, just like in a boxing ring in this cage, when you put corners, you can force a fight by literally cornering somebody. And that's why that we have a lot of extra action in the VFC. Combine that with finish bonuses, and it typically makes for exciting fights.
The bell, the end of round number 2. A few scattered boos. I don't think Sodiq Yusuff really cares. He feels he's winning this fight show.
Yeah, and you know, this is a kid that clearly has goals in mind. You know, every time we see him, he has one thing in mind, and that's getting to the highest level and proving that he can compete and win there. So for him, a win is a win tonight. You take a look here at a replay. We got these guys moving forward with their fingers open. That's something we talked about under the new rules. Not supposed to move forward with your fingers extended because they're trying to avoid the eye pokes. And then we see what we've seen mostly for 2 rounds, which is Sodiq Yusuff holding Chuka Willis against the cage, staying busy with the knees, and dominating really the clinch position so far through 2 rounds.
Our fight replays all night long are presented by B2 Interactive. Third and final round. Joe, really no doubt on your scorecard.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Both rounds go to Sodiq Yusuff, and hopefully these two will open up a little bit more in the third, and we won't just have a clinch battle against the cage for a 3rd round.
Enjoy live and exclusive events, original programming, and the world's largest MMA library on UFC Fight Pass. Download the UFC.tv app today, anytime, anywhere. Your pass to the UFC. And look where we are once more. To the inside. Willis with his fence against the cage. In the corner. Yusuff pressing forward. Short knee on the inside from Willis. The vast majority of round 2 spent in this position and in this corner, and here we are again. Even after the separation, Joe, in round 2 from Dave Jobin, they moved back to this corner.
Yeah, something I just noticed about this last engagement that ended up in this corner is Chuka Willis essentially walked himself backwards into the corner, you know, almost forced this situation that he's in with Sodiq Yusuff. They keep ending up, they're not doing themselves any favors with the fans by ending up in the same corner every time, because it just looks like a repeat 15 minutes of all the same thing. But, you know, for fight fans watching at home, for educated fight fans in particular, this is a tough clinch battle. If you've ever fought up against a wall like this for an extended period of time, you realize this is a very taxing way to fight. Just as we said, it's not the most exciting thing to watch, but it doesn't mean these guys aren't in there working.
Willis throwing a counter knee, trying to spin again. Yusuff showing really good balance, and as I say that on cue, taken down by Willis. Yusuff back to his feet. Willis put back into position where he's feeling the cage. That was short-lived. Nice takedown by Willis. But again, Joe, look at the end result. With his back against the fence. In this corner, tough angle. Yusuff driving forward. You see the inside head position. You see the knees and the right hand to the body. He's trying to turn up the temperature, going into a full tie plum. Another elbow. 2:05 remaining third and final round.
I need big points.
Another knee from Yusuff.
Second, big point. Think about it.
Yusuff continuing to drive with forward pressure. Joe, you talked about how exhausting it is to fight this type of fight that you're seeing from Chuka Willis, and now his mouth wide open. Yusuff looking for the high single. Lets it go. A short elbow from Willis. Yusuff walks right through it. Willis definitely turning up the volume, but from a very difficult position.
Yeah, he's going to have to do something. You know, I think we've got a little under a minute here left in this fight, and I think he's clearly lost every minute of the fight. I mean, he had a brief takedown. That's maybe like, 5 seconds of this fight that he's been competitive in, and the rest of it has just been him being controlled against the cage by Yusuff. And at this point with 40 seconds left, Yusuff isn't taking big chances because he's got this fight in the bag unless something happens to Chuka, a big shot or a crazy submission.
The turn from Willis and the turn right back from Yusuff. Level change, and there's the takedown hit by Chuka Willis. Sodiq Yusuff right back to his feet. Waist cinch though by Willis. 10 seconds remaining in this fight. At the beginning of this bout, I said it had all the ingredients to be a really entertaining fight. So I'm not right all the time.
Well, I think this is let me give you an example. Some of the most boring wrestling to watch for me is Olympic wrestling, because it's the best guys against the best guys, and they neutralize each other, right? So I think what you have here is you have two very dangerous athletic fighters, and they were just able to kind of shut each other's game plans down. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Sodiq Yusuff played it safe out there, but I'm not going to sugarcoat the other side either. Chuka didn't do enough to try to get out, try to force something to win the fight. What you end up with is, on my card, is 30-27, Sodiq Yusuff, but who really lost was me for watching it.
Joe, you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. When you roll against other high-level black belts, not a lot happens. Not a lot of flying arm bars and triangles. Someone passes guard and everyone stands up and cheers. It's the little things.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's what we saw in this fight. It was the little things. It clearly wasn't exciting. It clearly was not entertaining. But Sodiq Yusuff went to the inside. He controlled position. He cut the angles. And he threw a lot of short knees on the inside.
5 years from now, hypothetically, Sodiq Yusuff's in the UFC and winning fights. And when people go and look at his record, there's not going to be an asterisk next to it that said boring fight, only cage wrestling. It's just going to say win Sodiq Yusuff if he gets the nod. This is a game of wins and losses.
So on your unofficial scorecard, 3 rounds to none, 30-27. Let's see what the 3 Nebraska judges say. Here is Mike Markham.
We go to the judges' scorecards for the decision. Bryce Teager, Matt Prieto, and Rodney Verhoef all score this bout 30-27 in favor of your winner by unanimous decision, Super Sodiq Yusuff.